water to drink. This blew my mind in a negative way. Dear citizens, these were all in the hometown of a man who has been also a vice president. He had been touted as the economic whiz kid. I believe that what I also saw in Tamale South constituency, I chanced on a community called Kadula, where we went to donate a borehole for people to get clean water to drink. This is where I met a kid that was fetching water from the same color as the Galamsey water. And I was wondering what they were going to use it for. But that was for drinking. Right in my sight, it is a constituency controlled by a former majority leader in Parliament. In Bole, Bamboy, the hometown of our ex-president, who is also part of the candidate competition, I was touched to establish a guinea fowl farm for 5 families, as I could not stand the poverty I saw. Like Bole, I didn't leave the other deprived communities without a project. I built a borehole in Kadula, in many other places, to provide clean drinking water for people. There were hospitals who didn't have water in Wale Wale. This I did in many other areas. But I question myself, if all these leaders cannot simply cater for their constituencies, how can we entrust the whole nation? We entrust the whole nation in their hands. This is a question I was asking myself, but now I think it has become a public question for all Ghanaians, and I hope we find the right answer. Here's a 2 months that I have dedicated to travel around my country, and not only to do a campaign, but also to research, the potential opportunities in these areas. So now I'm having to cross from the north. After going through Tamale, Boliga, in the upper east, upper west, northeast, coming down to Savannah, I realized that there was a pathway that takes you to the Voltarian sector, which is Oti. And now we were going back on the river Afam, which will take us to Oti, Dambai. This region was highly deprived. I saw the worst primary schools here. The teachers did not have an office to sit. The headmaster sat under a tree. The kids, the children, they all sat on the floor, and there were no chairs. Now I wish that I have videos of this, and I would have loved Ghana to see this state. I don't know if it's so horrifying, reasons why my team is not showing, but this was very disturbing in Dambai. And the next day we were going to campaign in the market, which was the largest market I've been in. It was the biggest. At this market, didn't have one shelter. Everybody sat under the sun. Everyone. And I started to envision, why does this river have only one ferry? That people are coming from places like the Yam city and bringing food to Dambai. And all of a sudden, my anger kind of quenched my hunger for Dambai. I realized that this is a huge potential, a huge opportunity that we can actually, based on our I can see that there is the water showing. I'm sorry, this is actually Volta Lake, but I know the Afram water very well, and it sits right in front of a huge market, bigger than Makala and Kantamanto put together. But I was there and I realized that these people have no choice but to, well, and it's bigger than Makala and Kantamanto put together. But I was there and I realized that these people have no choice but to actually. Now I had to move from there after crossing from Dambai and visiting Jasikain and all the communities in these constituencies. And I asked myself, why did they separate Volta from Muti when they both have beautiful landscape and a water connecting, which is the lake and our farm, and it connects to more than 7 regions in the country, but yet there is only one ferry in this nation. I'm asking myself the question, what is Ghanaians doing? What do we call investment? Why are we not using these things that we have? And in fact, this is the only ferry you see on our farm water, and see how huge this water is. And it took us only 20 minutes to cross from one part to the other. When I got to Ho and I got to other parts of Volta region, it was the same thing on the lake. In fact, they didn't even have a ferry. They had a canoe with a boat. People have no access to capital, no government support. Hohoi and Ho could have been like Beverly Hills, but it's well underdeveloped. Keta was one of the favorite and the best landscape I saw in Ghana. In fact, Keta has a lagoon that meets the sea, a multi-billion-dollar development opportunity that will make Ghana have the likes of Miami and Dubai, the biggest tourist attraction. Talking about all of these places, we were not stopping. We were just moving through everywhere. And the next place we were supposed, after we finished OT, was the Western and the Western North. The Western North and the Western. Pristia, Takwa, Asangrogwa, yes. And some of the names I've forgotten. Please pardon me, but it was a lot of names. But I remember Wassa Ekropon very well. Pristia, we had Well, tonight, I want to tell everyone that is listening to me that I've had the opportunity to travel around Ghana, and I've had the chance to see what we live for and how bad we have treated our people. And that did not bring me down, but rather it inspired me and made me realize that we have work to do. It doesn't matter. And I'm not here to bring down any party in the past. And I'm not here to also talk about the past that we've done wrong. I'm here to talk about the best of solution for us to go forward, to be able to build up in the constituencies. 276 constituencies. I realized that that's what forms the entire parliamentarians. Well, tonight, I spoke to you about the SNIT revolution, which is part of the 12 pillars. You can access it. A total restructuring of the SNIT into a state insurance corporation that allows you to make claims after 5 years. These claims can be made against your accommodation, your health, and your children's education, or even yourself. I I've also told you about my commitment to increasing your salaries drastically by ushering you all into the 16th regional industrial revolution. I know this salary is not enough until it moves from low income to mid income. Our economy cannot be sustained. I want you soldiers to manufacture your own uniforms and also the uniforms for the police of this country, and because of that, and be the CEOs of the manufacturing that I will introduce into these governmental institutions. Construction companies, the army, the defense center can help, the police center can help. I want you to be a part of the economic development of this nation, Ghana. And I've had the chance to see what we live for. Not be forced to be puppets of any ruling government, but truly serve the national interest. Lastly, I want you to have what you truly deserve when you go for peacekeeping. You receive some of the smallest stipends in Africa, and I'm going to end that. Now to our media men and journalists, I appreciate your efforts. Yes, I know the extent to which some media houses and platforms have gone to block my messages, stifle my policies, withhold my videos from being aired, and perhaps taking money to work against me. But I still empathize with you. Your power has been taken from you by mere politicians. The very foundation of your institution has been broken. You should have been the voice of the people, but they turned you into the voice of politicians. I want to tell you that you control the sentiments of the people, and that is a very delicate position. You are the press, and you decide for the president. Kindly do not mislead or misinform people. The media should rise above all the controls of politicians and commercial interest, and ensure that we work to save our nation together. I will see and ensure to it that we expand your industry so you can create revenues from other avenues as well. My message to the disabilities, my brothers and sisters, you have been victims of motor accidents, misdiagnosis, or have been born with some deformities. They call you disabled. I call you differently abled. I'm a man of action. I empathize with you. You have seen what I've done for blind friend of mine, Brown, who has sponsored to become a journalist. You have seen a set of business I've set up for my friends. They call one leg, a man who battled with weak limbs but has now built his own house and business through Uber. I come with equity, equality, and empowerment. And I want to wish all you special people that are voting, well, that it's time that we vote wisely to determine the future of our country. And it's no more time for us to vote based on parties. Let's stand for our nation and our country. This gives me the chance, after the 276, maybe talk about parliamentary procedures. Fellow citizens, many people have asked me how I would work with no MPs on my side in Parliament. I chose not to answer it publicly. Today, I am going to. In fact, or should I say, as a matter of fact, this is a unique opportunity for us to unite the nation and to work in the national interest. I realized when I was doing the 276 that every single constituency that has an MP who makes the laws for this constituency has not seen to it the laws being effective, and that's why all the constituencies were on generation. So we can go ahead and harness Ghana together. Well, I like to say that with all this being said, I have a surprise for Ghanaians. Often, one would have expected it to be me unveiling another character from the New Six. Fortunately and unfortunately, not tonight. I'm not unveiling any character, but they will be unveiled sooner than later. It's just that I'm glad I've been able to unveil our current state of the nation and unveiled some of the truth that has been hidden from us as a country. But this gives me the chance to bring out the surprise of our new manifesto. Fellow citizens, dear countrymen and women, help me launch the Galamsey manifesto. But if you just give me a second, I want to launch this to Ghanaians. We can launch it. I will. Just 5 seconds. Well, thank you, dear countrymen and women. On my tour, going around this country, what really broke my heart the most was seeing our lands and waters completely destroyed without shame. The use of state machinery to protect the perpetrators of this and the looming danger that beholds Ghanaians living in this community and the entire nation as a whole. Dear citizens, we have an emergency. This has led me to find a solution, the only viable solution, without which we can never overcome the situation. I may now present to you the Galamsey manifesto. For me, I see yesterday's problem becoming tomorrow's opportunity. In the 60s, Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore turned the water problem of Singapore into a national asset. And that changed the entire Singapore. That was maybe close to 70 years ago. He was the first prime minister in 1959, just around the same time as Kwame Nkrumah. They all started together. Today, Singapore is one of the best countries well developed in the world. And it all came from the Singapore Enterprise Industrial Team developing the entire nation. I have a vision, and this vision to turn Ghana better than some of the witness countries that has been built in the last century. I'm very proud of mentors and leaders like this. Well, let's get back to their manifesto. Why did I decide to do a manifesto for Galamsey? Because I wanted to give you a national asset, not just the 12 pillars that will rebuild the building as Ghana, but I also wanted to give you the inside information, the solutions to do what Lee Kuan Yew did for his people and for his country by turning his problems or his crisis into an opportunity and letting that become a national development that will be globally recognized and appreciated. My vision is to do that for Ghana and go beyond the borders of Ghana and help Africa. I believe we Africans deserve better. We deserve more. We deserve to do what the Western world, Asia world, and many other continents on this planet Earth are doing. So, let me start by introducing the people that caused the problem and how the problem was caused. They said the only way to have the best solution for a problem is to go back to the roots of the problem. So we went back to the roots and realized that the imperialists, who are the international influence, and they work through multinational companies. They are the imperialists. And then coming down from the imperialists is the cartel. The cartel is the government, and of course, in the government, you have the politicians and the chiefs who are taking royalties from being the landowner. And when you move down from the cartels, you go down to the mafias. The mafias are the Galamseys. I just want to explain to Ghanaians that these local Galamseys campaigns are using cyanide and mercury to wash the sand. I want to just wait on this part a bit, that the three things I've mentioned, the imperialist, and then the cartels, and the mafias. The imperialists are the ones controlling the hard rock mining. The cartels are the ones controlling the colluvial mining. So that is the politicians and the chieftaincies. And the mafias are the basic Ghanaians who did not get any job and started to do alluvial mining within all these constituencies. This mafia state is undissolvable unless we apply this plan, which is in this manifesto. So there are three types of mining. You have the hard rock mining, which comes from upstream mining. And then you have the colluvial mining, which comes from midstream. Then you have the alluvial mining, which comes from low stream. I would like to say that these three things is just like how we take oil from the water as crude oil, and then we refine it in a refinery as refinery process, and then bring it to low oil market companies to sell the fuel. That's the same thing that is happening in the mining world, but this time it's destroying our country because of the process. So I know what I'm saying is it's not going to be likely for people, but this manifesto is the only thing that will save this nation, because I can see the opportunity, the vision of Ghana becoming the star of Africa, the powerhouse, if we can go into hard rock mining ourselves and start to create reserves, if we can go into colluvial ourselves and alluvial. So that brings me to a solution, and it's called, the solution will be based on investment and development. Well, I'd like to start by an investment that I have as a vision for the country, which is water purification. This water purification, all our water bodies in this country completely destroyed. Now the water purification, together with the plants of recycling, will cost us 4.5 billion to purify all the water. And if we don't, we are destroying the lands. We are turning all the lands that we grow our crops on into a poisonous land. Very soon, we will not be able to have water in this country, and we will have problems in crop farming because the land has begun to be destroyed and is moving very fast, rapid. Now, if you look at the numbers I was just showing you, 4.5 billion, and the returns of this investment in 10 years is going to give us 32.1 billion, which is 200 tons of gold. Up to date, Ghana, we still don't have that gold in our reserves. We had 7 point something tons, and recently they said a few has been added. Whether over 10, I'm yet to find out. But 200 tons secures you 32 point something billion sitting as our reserves in 10 years, just by this investment. But there is more to this investment that is coming. We are going to use this investment as purifying the water with extra plants. Guys, I think you have the plants, so if you can show the plants. The plants, I would like the plants are here. So these plants are going to do three things. It's going to take the water, it's going to purify the water, and then it's going to extract the poison out of it, which is cyanide and mercury. But here's an interesting thing that we found. We did the research and realized that once you're able to extract the cyanide, you can turn it to ammonia. Ammonia means you're going into the process of urea, and urea is fertilizer. Currently, we import fertilizers for all farmers. This could be one of our biggest opportunity in lifetime, because now the one problem that we had has come to solve all the problems. Now we're taking the cyanide and the mercury and processing it with some sodium and turning it into fertilizers. Not only would have the purified water gone back into the grounds by building the biggest irrigation system that will harness our agriculture and make us become the #1 food producers in Africa with all our water bodies. This vision, it took Galamsey's problem for us to discover this opportunity. As I'm saying today, we will turn this around, and Ghana will have the most jobs, because the recycling plant will be the beginning of our industrial power and our scientific research to find out what we can use anything in Ghana to do, from the plastic on the floor to the clay and to the poison in the water. And not to forget, this same water, we have no choice but to purify it, because our second pillar in this country is to connect all the waters and make it build a water transportation to connect the regions and unify us in doing business. 200 tons of gold as reserves, still not enough. The Galamsey manifesto has a plan to build our own upscale mining, which is more upstream mining, mid-scale, colluvial mining, and then low-scale mining. But whatever water that is being purified is going into that ground that you just saw before this picture of colluvial mining. This farming, you need to put those pipes onto the ground, the pipelines, to create that. So there will be a whole circulation of manufacturing chain order. You are looking at a new Ghana being transformed through this. Now I want to talk a little bit more about this opportunity of the Galamsey being turned into an industrial hub within the regions. What I saw in a lot of places in Ashanti region, there was almost every 2-3 miles there was a valley with water that is poisoned and people in the water sort of, you know, washing the water with poison. So this is some kind of issue that it will be so difficult to resolve it if we don't give back to society. This plant is going to create jobs for the same people who were doing Galamsey. They will probably be paid more than they were receiving from chasing the gold crumbs. Purification, which is going to be 4.5 billion, would also create tens of thousands of jobs within the nation itself. So it's not like the 4.5 billion is going out of the country. The 4.5 billion would be payment that will go back onto Ghanaians as workers, whilst we turn that into billions of dollars. You saw it yourself, 32.1. As such, other ideas around this gold industry, I like to say that the imperialists, who are companies like, or imperialists who support companies like Ashanti Goldfields, you might never know who the owner is because it says Ashanti Goldfields, or Goldfields, or many other fields. They all amount to trillions of dollars. When you go back just 40 years, 4 decades, in 8 to 9 regions, this amount of wealth has been extracted. We decided to do a bit of research and not investigate them, but it's public information to find out more. That how are these people surviving and investing in our country and digging a hole, cracking a mountain, taking all the gold out, and not even covering it? I'm sure you saw it in my presentation for the Galamsey Part 2 video. Who is sponsoring them? I realize that most of these companies are also getting funds from financial institutions like IMF. My vision, my mission is to write off our debt with IMF, because we don't need to owe them, but we can simply have international commercial relationships with them. If they're interested in gold, they can definitely buy from us once we produce it ourselves. And not to say that we don't want any foreigner to also mine here, but we just don't want any foreigner to extract from here, and we don't get the skill set. That's why we're still washing our waters with sand, looking for gold crumbs. Why the top people, they go straight to the rock, determine where the gold is, put the machines up, cut, and take the value out straight away. When we try to get value, we destroy the whole country. This tells me that we don't have the skill set, and our mindset for creating wealth is still slavery. You can see it there, because we are digging the soil and washing it with our hands. They are using machines to excavate, to crack into our stones. I stand here today because industrialization is the only way out for us as a nation to build ourselves. If we don't put this in place, and I don't just have to be president to do that, But I'm already on a mission to make sure that this is accomplished for Ghana and for the rest of African countries. We live by machines. We wake up in the morning and iron our clothes with machines. We are on the phone, it's a machine. We drive to work, it's a machine. None of these machines that we can build, and none of these machines that we are using. Over the tour in the 276, I realized that the most markets were on the roadside, and the most businesses were in the bush, where someone is excavating or moving the earth and extracting the wealth that we go back to either the IMFs or the World Bank to borrow for our economy. Well, Ghana, I'd like to say this to you before I come to an end with my closing remarks, that we cannot borrow money. We cannot borrow money and fix our lands with it and pay our workers with it. We can only create wealth from what we have, from what belongs to us. And if we're able to turn it around, then we'll be in control of our wealth for the rest of our lives. Our children will adapt from it, they will learn from it, they will come with more skills, and there will be more intel to expand our vision. I have a vision, and I see Ghana being transformed to the likes of Dubai, America, and most of these Western countries that our children are running to, just to stop them from running away, because they don't come back anymore. And I don't see why we should harness and invest in our children, educate them, and somebody imports the talents from us whilst we export the goods which they took the raw materials from us. It's a reverse cycle. And for that reason, the new force have come to give a fair share of our equity, a fair treatment of equality, and a fair way of treating building nation empowerment. I'd like to say thank you very much. In closing my address tonight, I want to take this opportunity to thank you all for your time. I thank you for the young people who supported me in my 276 constituency tour, the mothers, also some old people, and fathers, grandmothers. I was surprised. Genuinely, Ghanaians are good people. It's rather unfortunate that partisans or politicians have failed us. Our expectation of development is undermined by our own capacity and abilities. I'd like to say thank you to the regional coordinators too, the constituency executives, the electoral area comrades. It is now time to protect what we've worked for. We've worked so hard as a new force and as a new generational leaders. I would like to urge all of you to go out and vote peacefully. And after voting, Ghana as a nation, let's protect our ballot. Let's be reasonable, for this country is in shambles. Our economy is facing problems. Our currency is facing crisis. Our waters are polluted. The last thing we have left is our democratic constitution to govern the nation. And I'm urging the nation for us to do this peacefully so we can move forward and build our country and make it a better place and make Ghana great again. Thank you. That will lead and guide this nation going forward as how to build wealth and how to manage the people and add value to the society we belong to. Thank you very much, and God bless you. On national television and all social media.
The connection and the Great Eastern and Western Corridor Railway. A true industrial powerhouse demands a revolutionary overhaul of distribution networks. Ghana, blessed with abundant water bodies, from vast seas to rivers, lakes and streams, stand ready to harness its potential. The new force, will lead the charge to drench our lands, forge connections, and establish a network of canals and inland harbors to transform Ghana into a bustling hub of trade and transportation. For decades, the River Pra has yearned for the opportunity to carve a path to the coast, transforming into a vital canal that links and serves the heartlands of Ghana. The Tana River has the potential to be simultaneously connected to both the Volta River and the coast of Olugu, creating a strategic waterway that enhances connectivity and boosts regional development. These waterways, complemented by strategically placed inland harbors, hold the promise of fueling our nation's growth by facilitating the efficient movement of goods. But more importantly, Ghana will become the powerhouse of Africa, leading in regional and continental distribution, irrigation, and purification. On the ground, we intend to lay down our audacious railway network spanning over 8,000 kilometers to cover the eastern and western corridors. Steel, born from our own industrial revolution, will be the backbone of this transformation. By harnessing the power of our waters and creating a vast eastern and western railway network, Ghana will rise as a gateway for commerce on the continent, driving economic growth and regional integration. This is not just a vision, it is an undeniable truth. Before the age of enlightenment, our ancestors counted their riches not in papers and coins, but in the intangible bounty of land, heads of cattle, stores of grain, the fruits of labor. These were the true reserves that built nations and sustained people. But what about Ghana today? The moment has arrived to unearth our natural reserves and unleash their power. We will start with our gold to back our currency and our oil to fuel our energy needs to ensure Ghana's steady rise in economic freedom. Through large-scale industrialization, manufacturing, production, processing, and distribution, we will extract and refine our own mineral and agriculture reserves, making them the new commodities the nations trade. The new force envisions Ghana becoming the African giant, the titan of wealth and power, with mineral reserves sufficient not only for our needs but also for distribution to the rest of Africa and the world. The immense mineral reserves will be the foundation upon which we create financial districts, the new Wall Street of Africa. Where nations trade in stocks and reserves, our food security will be ironclad. As the population grows and the world grapples with climate change and wars, our arable lands and agro-processing industries will be bolstered to produce and distribute abundant food to sustain our nation and meet the needs of the African continent. We will introduce a seedling bank where we can nurture and grow seeds into foods for decades, ensuring long-term food security not just for ourselves but for Africa. Reserves will build our stocks, reserves will guarantee our wealth, and reserves will feed our needs. West Africa's biggest ecopark. Ghana is poised to be the natural playground of West Africa, and industrialization will unlock our potential to captivate adventurers, nature lovers, and families. Our industrial revolution will fuel the creation of West Africa's biggest central park. Designed with a forward-thinking approach, the park will not only be a major attraction but also a model of sustainability, boasting a low carbon footprint and cutting-edge green technologies. The park will house the largest zoo in West Africa, featuring an expansive range of wildlife from across the globe. Adjacent to this, a vast safari park, which will offer exhilarating experiences with guided tours and immersive encounters designed to captivate visitors and provide educational insights into wildlife conservation. In addition to these wildlife attractions, the ecopark would include innovative water parks featuring thrilling slides, wave pools, and lazy rivers, a grand museum to celebrate Ghana's rich cultural heritage, and a city of hotels to provide world-class accommodation. This integrated approach will ensure that visitors have a memorable stay and experience the best of Ghanaian hospitality. To see this ecopark attracting Europeans, Americans, and Asians to Ghana, to witness our greatness and marvel at our ingenuity. At Tomato Forest, the nature reserved for this project will transform into a living, breathing symbol of our tourism power, showcasing our potential in every attraction and building we construct at the ecopark. This project is non-negotiable. Ghana must own its development, generating over $1 million a day. Tens of thousands of jobs will be created, with revenues reinvested into our industrial hubs, forging a relentless cycle of production, distribution, and tourism. Energy City and Technology Hub. The process of industrialization demands immense energy to feed its growth. We believe that an industrialized Ghana can become the epicenter of energy efficiency and technological advancements in Africa. Central to the energy strategy is the integration of various renewable energy resources. Hydropower will leverage the country's abundant water resources to generate electricity sustainably. Solar power, tapping into the high levels of sunlight, will be crucial for both rural and urban areas, reducing the reliance on traditional power sources. Wind power will harness the coastal and inland wind currents to provide a steady supply of renewable energy. Thermal power, utilizing geothermal and other heat-based technologies, will add another layer of reliability. Lithium-based energy storage will ensure that surplus energy generated during peak production times is stored efficiently for use during periods of high demands or low production. In addition, the integration of nuclear power will be pivotal, leveraging uranium resources through trade and distribution channels with African countries like Niger. A state-of-the-art nuclear power plant will provide a reliable and efficient source of energy. This will sufficiently bolster our energy capacity, ensuring that our power grid and industries are resilient and capable of meeting the demands of a growing modern economy. On the technology front, we will create a comprehensive hub for technology, leveraging our own resources and reserves for manufacturing and production, focusing on a wide range of products from consumer electronics to industrial machinery, ensuring that the country meets both domestic needs and international market demands. To support the growing demand for digital services and data storage, we will invest in the development of advanced data centers to provide reliable, secure, and scalable infrastructure for cloud computing, data storage, and data processing. Technology is a crucial driver of industrialization, and the new force will use it to fundamentally transform our economy and society by enabling more efficient production processes, fostering innovation, and creating new business opportunities. The currency revitalization. In the world where economic stability often hinges on global markets, Ghana stands ready to defy the status quo and rise as a beacon of financial innovation and resilience. Through industrialization, printing and minting of our own currency becomes possible, and our currency, backed by mineral reserves, becomes our radical acts of self-determination. The fires of our industrial in the pursuit of an economic renaissance and building collaborative network across the continent. In this pursuit, we are not merely constructing a new economic framework, we are fulfilling the dreams of our founding father. By leading the charge in regional and continental integration, we honor their memory and continue their quest for unity, strength, and self-determination. Let us be the generation that transforms those dreams into reality. Together, we will build a Ghana that stands as a beacon of hope and a model of success, not only for Africa, but for the entire world. This is our moment, our opportunity to rise, shine, and lead the spirit of those who first dreamt of our greatness.
Ghana, ensu edamachi, ensu idea ho sika kokko ho. Enu an ejina ho no. E moving cover bia, hwe ensu nani. Na hwe fa ye. Sika papa sika kokko, empefin. Tie fie di say ensu nyina no, e sika bone. Ene dia say ensu.
This is part 2 of the documentary on Galamsey by KWAME BEDIAKO, the leader of the new force.
In part 1, I uncovered the presence of a powerful mafia involved in Galamsey. This mafia operates with the backing of influential cartels, including political elites and traditional authorities who are custodians of the land.
It is clear that the government plays a significant role in this system by issuing licenses to small-scale, medium-scale, and large-scale miners. This operation spans different types of mining, ranging from hard rock mining to colluvial mining and alluvial mining. Alluvial mining is particularly devastating to our environment. The cyanide used to extract gold seeps into the soil, contaminating water bodies and posing severe threat to both ecosystems and human health.
Let's not forget the gold is embedded in the veins of rock found in our mountains. Today, we take you to one of the largest craters in Obuasi, created by a multinational company whose name we won't disclose.
What's important to understand is that this crater should have been covered and the land reclaimed after the mining. But who is responsible for breaking up these rocks, and how is it done? Now, they've even built tunnels leading to other mountains, allowing them to scavenge for every ounce of gold.
This is a huge hole that you're finding here that has been dug by some hard rock mining group. Could be people that we gave licenses to, but when they finish, they left the hole. It's been like this for 33 years, from the days of Rawlins, from the days of a different party. The question I'm asking myself is that if somebody comes to our country and even did a hard rock mining and left it like this, and we don't have experience to do our own like this, then what value are we going to get out of the people that we're giving our lands to mine? And that's the same people who are attracting our young people in doing Galamseys, because they think that that's where the money is.
We want to tell you that the wealth from this single crater could have transformed the region, building 10 hospitals, 10 universities, 10 cooperative businesses, and still leaving billions for the economy.
If we are not responsible for cutting our own grounds and keeping these reserves of gold mines, the world will forever keep coming and taking what belongs to us and leaving us with this, that we can never get close to it. And we would never know the sort of machine that will cut our own rocks and leave it with this hope.
Now, consider this. The companies responsible from Canada, Australia, and South Africa didn't even train a local people in the skills required for large-scale hard rock mining. As a result, Ghanaians are left little knowledge of how to extract the gold in our own land, forcing us to dig the mud for gold.
Even though we're sitting on vast gold mines, how can we be searching for gold when it's right beneath us? It is a tragic reality. The leftovers, the remaining lands, are what our leaders should leave for the Galamsey, but instead, they become the main players. They seize control of the land, continue to do business with multinational corporations, and even provide excavators for illegal operators in alluvial mining areas.
No one in Ghana has ever invested hundreds of millions of dollars to build a large-scale hard rock mining company capable of generating billions in returns. If we had such companies, we would have billionaires in Ghana. We want to tell you that the new force is here to do what the government has failed to do. In every region that holds gold-rich mountains, we aim to mine that gold for the benefit of the country.